Welcome back. Before we look at what's making the business headlines around the world today, let's take a look at the various currencies, followed by the price of oil and commodities. US stocks scored their first back-to-back weekly gains since early July on Friday on strong Google earnings as investors kept riding the optimism for a solution to the Eurozone's debt crisis. The gains put the Dow Industrials and the Nasdaq back into positive territory for the year, marking a dramatic reversal from 2 weeks ago when the threat of a Greek default and the sour US data had buyers running from the market. For the week, the Dow rose 4.9%, while the S&P 500 jumped 6% and the Nasdaq climbed 7.6%. Next week, third quarter earnings kick into high gear, with reports coming from Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Apple Inc. and other prominent companies. France and Germany formalised their agreement in Paris on Friday for a plan on the way out of the Eurozone debt crisis. German and France's finance ministers, who are under pressure from the rest of the world to act together, made a fresh commitment to have a plan for the Eurozone in place before a summit of G20's leaders in Cannes on November 3rd and 4th. Speaking ahead of the Paris summit, which they hope will restore a climate of confidence in markets that have been badly shaken, both finance ministers said they had already come to an agreement that will be very important.
We will do our part to make sure that the French G20 presidency is successful. The preparations are very good. We are agreed, France and Germany, that we will do everything for the discussions in the Eurozone to be successful ahead of the meeting with all the heads of state a week on Sunday. We have a joint position and we are convinced that we can defend the European currency as a stable currency.
Meanwhile, the latest downgrade of Spain's credit rating, this time by rating agency Standard & Poor's to AA-, highlights how economies which are much larger than Greece are also coming under threat. Neighbouring Portugal has also just promised a tough new budget for 2012 as it tries to meet the terms of its EU IMF bailout and regain credibility amid a deepening recession.
S&P actually cite a number of positive things for Spain. The central government deficit reductions are going along nicely, and the things that they cite as reasons for the downgrade, it's the very high unemployment rates, it's the problem of private sector credit, and also the external problems of Europe, the lack of demand for Spain's exports.
China's inflation slowed last month to 6.1%, confirming that inflation peaked around July. Although the figure is another retreat from multi-year highs, food prices stayed high, showing Beijing's fight against inflation is not over. Experts say that two major factors contributed to the slight decrease in inflation. The first is due to prices of many agricultural products, which have dropped in the medium term. The second reason is related to a bigger picture. Since July or August, the US and European countries have had a grim outlook in their economic forecasts. Therefore, everybody feels uncertain about the economic future. Analysts say Beijing is likely to keep monetary policy on hold for now, unless things get significantly worse in Europe. China's inflation is not far from the three-year peak of 6.5% hit in July, and food costs soared more than 13% in the year to September. And thousands of Apple fans around the globe waited in long lines to be the first to own a new iPhone 4S on Friday. The iPhone 4S looks a lot like the previous iPhone 4, but has an upgraded camera and a faster processor. And despite some reported glitches with iCloud email access and Apple's online communications, the phone has earned glowing reviews from analysts as well as customers. And up next, we have the day's sports news for you, so stay with us.